Hey everyone, having seen all of the episodes today of House of Cards America, the 21st century version, and House of Cards UK, the 20th century version, I'm now going to offer my, well, in a sense, update versus my last video where I said that House of Cards America was better than UK. And this is not so much to pick one as being better than the other, but to point out more of what the differences I see and the similarities. Of course, we still have Francis Underwood, who was Francis Urquhart in the UK version, and we have Doug Stamper, who was the chief of staff to Francis Urquhart in the UK version. Same name, chief of staff to Francis Underwood in the American version. But that's where the differences, the similarities start to end. Claire Underwood, Claire Urquhart, they're similar characters. They're both enablers of their husband's power, but where they differ is that the American Claire seeks ambition equal to her husband. And I have actually seen that play out in politics in real life, where the wife becomes very jealous of the husband's power and seeks to elevate her position. And that's not a criticism of Hillary Clinton. That really is a dynamic that could be placed in the description of a number of husband and wife political teams around the country, where the husband is the politician and the wife is someone that has been behind the scenes but enabling that person and then tries to elevate herself in some kind of way. That's actually quite common. Doug Stamper reminds me, the American version, of G. Gordon Liddy, who I met and argued with. G. Gordon Liddy once said that President Nixon, he thought, was sending him out on a mission to kill someone, and he was headed out the door to do that, and he had to be called back. Doug Stamper has that kind of paranoid schizophrenic mindset. I mean, this is a really fucked up guy who was, in the UK version, not so fucked up at all. The UK guy was more of a prissy, kind of nosy busybody guy that was loyal to a degree, okay? But he eventually ended up losing his life. So if all cores according to Hoyle, this Doug Stamper should end up losing his life, but this guy really deserves it. What I don't like about this House of Cards is the brutality toward women that's exhibited in it. You would say, well, the UK version, the journalist got thrown over the ledge there and fell to her death. Yes, but you didn't see so many scenes of just forced sex and rape, or what was done to Rachel at the hands of Doug Stamper, aptly played and wonderfully played by, brilliantly played by Michael Kelly. But that role is so meaty and so ugly that it's like, yay, wow. Notice something about House of Cards Season 3 as you watch it, American version. Each episode gets progressively darker in its lighting. There are scenes that are shot in such a way that in many cases in the room, the only light is the light that is emitted by a telephone. It's really a study in how the entire American House of Cards is becoming darker. By contrast, the UK version didn't have that element. The Prime Minister that Urquhart had become certainly bumbled with foreign policy, but he tried to excel domestically in a conservative way. But there wasn't that dark element that was there, that was growing consistently worse, okay, in terms of lighting, in terms of cinematography. With this House of Cards, the last episode was a complete horror show. The music had that you know, sound to it. It was creepy. Undoubtedly, one of the creepiest programs I've ever seen in my entire life. That's one where you need a cold shower. Uh, it's going to be interesting what happens with the next round of episodes, like season 4, I guess it will be, or however they're going to handle it. Because Doug Stamper was supposed to die. He was supposed to have died when Rachel hit him over the head with that rock. And getting back to my theme regarding women, and this is something I find disturbing, is that Rachel was essentially kidnapped by this guy. She never went to the police, didn't tell Lisa, her girlfriend, and that strikes me as unrealistic, because at some point along that chain of abuse, Rachel would have broken out of it. Think of the Cleveland women that the first minute chance they got to get help from someone, they not only broke away from their captors, they got help and had those guys arrested and jailed. And that's what should have happened in House of Cards. For House of Cards to not close out that issue with Rachel, given all of the tracks that Stamper has left, would be completely unrealistic. That really should happen. Because, for example, he has that fellow in Venezuela, and even though he said he could fine him anytime he wanted, he threatened his life, the bottom line is that guy's got a lot of information that stretches all the way back to Frank Underwood's murder of the character that was played by Ms. Mara there. So there's got to be some tying up, not just of these loose ends, but of the logic of the program with respect to what's believable, okay? Now, you would say, well, there's a lot here that isn't believable, but there is a lot that is. It places itself in a realistic setting. So it's only it's only right to ask for a more reasonable storyline, something that approximates real life with respect to how women are treated and the justice that will be exacted on a person who treated a woman incorrectly. I mean, think of how Doug Stamper was trying to make sure that Rachel had a job at that restaurant where she wasn't being sexually harassed, right? But then he turns around, basically, he's harassing her in his own way sexually. And then worse, he kills her. Now, yeah, she stoned him, but he was basically kidnapping her. She became his indentured servant. That's horrible stuff. So there has to be some right that comes out of this, not just because of the terrible thing that he did, but because of the way that he did it and the many loose ends that he left. There are too many. Think about it.